Beep! I'd like you to meet Leon, our adopted Mad TV cameraman. G'day, Leon.
I hope you got that shot before you jumped.
And he did. Well done, Leon. Welcome to the team.
We're on the top of our favourite precipice and we're testing the mighty Cfmoto 450 MT, and that M starts for mighty. And you're watching Motorcycle Adventure Dirt Bike TV. We do three things on this channel: round the world bike adventures, bike builds and bike reviews, fair dinkum bike tests. Not in the backyard, we go out and we do it right. And we've really tested this bike today. So if you like what we do on Mad TV, subscribe.
This review is going to be a little bit different. We're going to start with my concluding impressions following my testing of this bike during this past week. This will be followed by more detailed information about the bike for those that want to know more.
Finally!
Yes.
I've had plenty of time on this bike over the past few months.
Yeah.
So now it's your turn, and what we all are busting to hear, first impressions. Dave, give us your feedback on this new player in a whole new category of adventure bike.
I think shockwave, Clubby. This is going to put a shockwave through the adventure market. It's got wonderful build quality. The suspension's great. The engine's great. The handling's great. Standing position is great. Seated position for dwarfs is good. We need a taller seat, but that's okay. Unbelievable first impression, and that's before I even start talking about the price. You know, $9,000 and something, you know, well under $10,000. And this is value, and this makes adventure riding accessible to so many more people, not only because of the price, but also because of the seat height.
Yeah. Now, my first question of you on specifics is the motor, Dave. Twin cylinder, 270-degree crank. I like it. What's your impressions of the engine specifically, Dave?
Well, some would say it was a little bit underpowered. I wouldn't say that. It's a very mellow engine. It pulls from about 2.3. I've really tested it and got it down to about 1,800, and it doesn't like that very much. But I found the engine has done everything I wanted it to do, particularly with that wonderful clutch. I can get myself around stuff. Yesterday I was in some incredibly difficult single trail, took this right out of its comfort zone, and it pleasantly did it with the engine. So flexibility with a capital F is the first thing for this engine. And then when you get it at speed, and you know, I've got engine sympathy, and I'm going down the freeway at 110, and it's doing something like 6,500 revs, 8,000 revs. And I'm thinking, this poor little engine. And you know what? It came back to me and said, mate, I'm comfortable with this. Don't worry about it. I can do this all day. And there's no vibration. Yeah, flexibility is the key to this engine. Ideal for adventure, ideal for beginners, but then the more experienced dirt-oriented riders will get a lot out of this engine as well.
What about final gearing, Dave? A lot of chatter online. Yeah. Owners already going up a tooth on the countershaft from 14 to 15 to bring those revs down on the highway miles.
Yeah, look, I've now got a couple of 100 kilometres on the bike, half of it in the dirt, half of it on the tar. I'm saying keep the gearing as it is. Yes, it does seem to rev its breasts off when it's on the freeway, but it does that comfortably. But what you don't want to lose is the accessible first and second and third gear in the dirt, which are ideally geared. Leave the gearing, I think it's spot on.
All right, I want you to move on to the bike's handling, Dave.
Yeah, I can't help but think of KTM. Oops, I burped that out. It's got a feeling of KTM in its DNA. But it's not. It's a Cfmoto and they've built it, right? But it's got beautiful steering. It tips into corners beautifully on the road. And when you're in the standing position in the dirt, it's really good. It handles like a little dirt bike and very confidence inspiring. Yeah, so steering geometry is excellent, but also the weight distribution. Now, I don't know how many people out there, we've got fat phobics out there. They go, oh, it's 193 kilograms fuel full. Therefore, it's only 15 kilograms less than a T7. that weight is low. It's very low. Combined with the low seat height, it does not feel anywhere near that.
All right, and I think the bike's ergonomics play a big part in its impressive handling, Dave.
Absolutely. When you're standing on this bike, and I do this with trepidation, I'm going to put the front brake on, Clubby, so we don't go over this cliff. Everything is where it should be. And if you look, I'm slightly bent knees, the brake activation, the clutch activation, rear brake, what a cracker that rear brake is. Lovely feel. Front brake, meh. You've got to grab that with 3 fingers if you want to stop. Yeah, it does stop you, but the pressure you've got to apply is quite significant. And the gear lever is fine, but a great standing position. And same with the seated position. And even though the bike's leaning, I've got tons of leg room there. But what I'd say to you, for me, the distance between foot peg and the seat valley, if you like, is too short. Too short. And but we can get around that. All we need is a taller seat. The actual distance between the foot peg and where your hips are to the handlebars is perfect. It's a great riding position. I've been riding in it for hours, no aches or anything. So yeah, seated position is good. Better talk about this screen. The screen is really good. There's a little bit of buffeting on the shoulders, not too much. And you can bring it up and down. You can adjust it with one hand, either side on the fly. The interesting thing is I've had that on the high setting, even in the dirt and jumping those erosion mounds that I'll show you in a minute. This screen didn't come anywhere near my face. So a good thing. Mirrors are excellent. Blinkers are great. They're nice and bright. Yeah, no, they've nailed that. The actual switch blocks themselves and all that, their activation is very good. And yeah, I'm quite happy with them. They reek of quality. And I know that's a thing when you say $9,000 and you say quality, people go, oh, it's cheap. Well, you got to watch cheap because there's actual value in this bike. Yeah, so that Bashplate. So B&B have got a Bashplate coming, Clubby?
That's already done, mate, and it's brilliant, mate. They do it in both alloy and a black PPC coating.
Yeah.
The black looks great on this one. The alloy one looks great on the other blue model.
Yeah, I'd go harder if I knew I had a Bashplate on there. I'm worried about the headers at the moment.
Yep.
So, just to bring you back to yesterday, you may recall me nearly running over Leon. And what I did, I hit a rock shelf as I jumped the bike, and there's the result of that. And it stinted this very, it's a pretty flimsy Bashplate. It's only a couple of mil aluminium. Also noticed there was another dent there, and another dent there. So what concerns me about that Bashplate, it's just too thin, and energy could easily be transferred onto the exhaust headers, and then that would transfer up here and potentially bend the headers. So yeah, really looking forward to Clubby's B&B Bashplate solution for that. It's a must if you're going to ride this bike in the bush.
Folding brakes.
Yeah, you got a folding rear brake tip and gear lever tip.
Let's have a look at this gear lever tip, eh? Yeah. There it is. Folding brakes. These switch blocks work really well, but we'll have more discussion about them later on.
Sure. Yep.
There's that beautiful ABS. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's on. And you want to turn it off?
Yeah, on the fly.
On the fly.
Now, just this rim design. See that spoke design that helped make tubeless? It actually can sit wider than the tyre sidewall.
Right. So
and they can catch up.
And they have.
Yeah. We have done that somewhere today.
I've scratched that.
Yeah. But yeah, well, like we said, tubeless tyres standard.
Yep. And that's a bit of a decision, isn't it? I mean, people go, oh, we want tubeless. But
yeah.
What you lack in tubeless is tyre variety.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't mind tube.
Yeah, you've done all through the airbox, haven't you, Dave, yesterday?
Yeah. Airbox, just 2 screws. Ridiculous.
Fuel capacity is 17.5 litres, but what really surprised me was fuel consumption in the dirt when riding hard, where it reached 7.8 litres per 100 kilometres. Now, that's more than my small car. But for a full day's adventure ride mixing blacktop, freeway and dirt, it averaged out to 4.5 litres per 100 kilometres. Riding in the hard dirt, fuel range is 230 kilometres, but the average for that day's ride was 390 kilometres, so a big difference. If you were exploring and taking your time, I'd be conservative until I got to know the bike, and I'd calculate the fuel range to around 5 litres per 100 kilometres to be on the safe side, which would give you a theoretical range of 340 kilometres. Now remember, I didn't run the tank dry, so that's theoretical, and there can be differences in tank volume and what's accessible to the fuel pump.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I've got to laugh. This one is 1290-esque. That
Oh,
one.
yes, yeah. And, yeah.
That's 1290-esque.
Yeah, and do you see the switch block here is a bit KTM-esque, isn't it?
That's a bit
790, 890.
Yeah, that's a bit
Yeah, not
KTM-esque.
dissimilar, isn't it? Yeah.
Blinkers are a bit
Yeah, KTM-ish.
KTM-esque.
Yeah.
Yeah, handling, I'd have to say, is a bit KTM-esque.
Yeah.
But hey, it's a Cfmoto bike,
Yeah.
and they're owning it. Is it high?
Well, I prefer the look of the low rally,
Yeah.
but we have been in situations, Dave,
Yeah,
when
that mud
little
catches.
bit of airspace there has been gone.
Yes.
It'll also look, the brake line routing is
Yeah.
not to touch, it doesn't connect to the front guard.
Yeah.
So getting your front guard and off in a
Yeah.
mud out situation,
It's not
it's
too
not
hard.
a massive palaver.
I wonder if that's by accident or design. They've certainly done that for Aussie conditions.
Well, and to make an easy swap for the high guard
Yeah,
too, because you do see a lot of them with the high guard. It's
Now
a popular mod.
Now that front rake may be a cracking diameter, but I've got to say the front rake action, I mean,
Yeah, and I've got to
you've
wonder,
have the
is that
strength of a
pads?
gorilla.
Is it pads? Is it the brake
I
lines?
don't know.
What is it? Yeah, it's not,
It's got very little feel. You just got to grab hold of it and
Yeah.
strangle it like a cat. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry for all those cat lovers.
Yeah, indeed, mate.
Yeah.
Now I want you to talk about suspension, Dave, because I've been impressed by it. For a standard package, mate, there's not a lot that I feel like I need to rush to a tuner to work on.
Look, suspension tuners are going to go out of business with this bike. That's it in a nutshell. And look, I can talk about it, and I will, but I've just come roaring up this hill full of G-outs and rocks and sharp-edged rocks and a whole lot of things. The suspension just took that in its stride, and I'm gobsmacked by how good it is standard. Now, I'm a fairly beefy pie eater. I'm around 94 kilograms, 93 if I hold my stomach in. And, you know, with my gear and my camera gear, the suspension is on its standard tuning, and I'd say I'm not going to touch that. If this was my bike, I would leave the suspension alone. Now, I know some people who are lighter might suggest that the suspension is a bit hard. I reckon they could take that out with clickers, and that's where I'd start. And at the very worst, it would just be softer springs. So you always hear us saying manufacturers put too softer springs in the bike. The Cfmoto is actually the other way around. For our weight, they've got it spot on. Maybe for lighter people, they'd enjoy softer springs, but I'd do the suspension first because it is quality suspension and it does tune.
Now there's 1,000 features this bike includes,
Yes.
but the one that's really caught my attention, that little button up there on the left side, Dave.
This little button, ABS on and off. So you can turn ABS on and off on the fly. So you just hold it on for a couple of seconds and that turns it into off-road mode. And then you just click it once and it turns it back into on-road mode. But not only does it do that, it also turns off the traction control.
What about the finish, manufacture, detail of the bike, Dave?
Yeah, and this is another thing that's irritating me with the talk on the internet. People who haven't gone near the Cfmoto are saying, oh, it's Chinese, therefore it's not well built. Well, I'm telling you, I'm looking at this up close and personal, and the quality of this is the same as the quality of any other motorcycle that's been built lately. It's excellent quality, and you can't fault it.
The demographic, the customer base for this bike, Dave. I feel like it's everybody. Do you agree?
I'm going to say this is a banquet for everyone. That's it in a nutshell. The accessibility of price is so important these days, particularly with those under 50 who are really suffering economically. And to be able to get into adventure, this is a gateway to it. And yeah, and then older blokes who are dirt oriented, like you and I, actually get a lot out of this bike. This is a cracking bike, great dirt manners, and it suits that lot as well. And then you've got the beginners, the guys who don't know how to even spell adventure, and they get on this bike, don't be put off by this 192 kilogram crap. Go and sit on the bike and feel how close your feet are. You can comfortably sit on the ground, and if things are getting a little bit dicky for you, you can paddle around it, and the engine and the clutch, the way the clutch activates, is going to get you through it. So beginners, old dirt riders, people who want some fun, people who like value for money, this is it. But don't listen to that crap about, oh, this is cheap Chinese. Go and have a look at it yourself. Have a look at the quality of the build. It speaks for itself. And if it was cheap crap shit, I would tell you so. I wouldn't hold back, but it's not.
And then it's hit a whole new price point, a whole new level of spec, bang for buck. We're all saying that.
Yeah.
So what's its competition in the marketplace, Dave?
You've got the Himalayan 450 that's just come out, and I'm very impressed with that bike. I could ride that round the world tomorrow. And I'd have to say, if that was the category of ride that round the world tomorrow, this bike could do that as well. They are neck and neck. If you want a bit more dirt orientation, maybe the Hemi, but I honestly, strongly encourage you to ride both so you know exactly what you want. Because both are quality, contrary to all the naysayers out there. Both have good suspension or reasonable suspension. Both have good engines. They're both looking at. And then in the background is our mighty red Rooster that still does a good job, but you're going to have to spend a minimum of about $1,200 on suspension. But that's as reliable as. Have a listen to that.
We're miles away from that. How loud are they? And then what about where the bike is placed just in the overall adventure landscape? What's happening out there in the big wide world with these new small capacity bikes taking priority?
Yeah, well, there's been raining large capacity, high quality, large capacity bikes, you know, from around 700 to 890, and now the 1300 BMW GS has come out. But this reignites the passion. I mean, it's always been there, but I'm quite certain that people now are going to put their money down and start buying these smaller bikes. We already know that there's something like 900 of these sold. There's something like 900 Himalayans sold, and in the background, we're noticing huge discounts, $5,000 on some of the big twins. And I think that tells you what's happening in the market. The eyes are focused on the smaller capacity. They're cheaper to run, they're more comfortable, they're just easy, and they're just accessible.
I've given this bike a mighty rap, and it's well deserved, but like all bikes, there are things that need improvement. I found the front brake lacks feel, and considerable force needs to be applied when stopping hard. It's a three-fingered job. It's like strangling a cat to get this thing to stop. I also noticed that when braking hard in the dirt, there was ABS pulsing that affected stopping. The Bashplate is flimsy, and I would replace that immediately, even for intermediate riders. In addition to rocks squashing the exhaust, there is also the slim possibility of a stick puncturing the oil filter which faces forward. It's a rare thing that happens, but it does happen. For my style of riding, the tyres need to be more dirt oriented. A word of caution, that particular tyre compound is very slippery on wet dirt and mud and offers little traction in those conditions.
That front tyre's got to go.
So if this was my bike, how would I accessorise it? Well, there's not much to do. In order of purchase, a Bashplate, bark busters, soft luggage racks, heated grips, and maybe a high guard, and that would do me. I think the bike's cracking just as it is. The bike is supported by a 3-year factory warranty, 2 years from the date of purchase, and an additional year if serviced exclusively at an authorised dealer and you have an accurate service history of the bike. So Cfmoto 450MT has got a glowing review from me. I think the bike is brilliant, but one thing I caution is we ride the bikes new in their honeymoon period. The real test comes when consumers start clocking up the miles and they start experiencing their interaction with service centres.
First couple of kilometres on the Cfmoto 450MT, the Adventure Cfmoto, the adventure version. Oops. Oh, I started off in 5th then at 2.8, but it pulled away. And I'm in top gear, 4,000 revs at 70 kilometers an hour. It'll be interesting how fast it's going to rev when we get on the freeway in a minute. Enjoying the seated position, the bars are in the right place for me. The only thing is, I'm pretty sure I'd prefer a taller seat than this one. I feel a little bit crunched. But the actual position of my hips in relation to the handlebars, that's all good. But I think if I was up, I don't know, just about that, just another inch, and I'd be happier. I feel a tiny bit crunched up, like my knees are coming up to my chin. But it's okay. I mean, the trade-off to that is, you know, you can put your feet flat on the ground, absolutely flat on the ground. Kind of reminds me of a mini T700. Yeah, so it's got a nice sound to it. The dashboard is really clear and concise and simple, easy access to trip meter and all those sorts of stuff. Approaching 5,000 in 4th gear at 65 kilometers an hour, and I'm approaching the media part of the power of this engine. Yeah, easily up to the speed limit. Missed the gear then, but easily up to the speed limit quickly. Okay, I'll just take the bike down a bit. Okay, I've nearly taken it to 2,000 revs in 4th gear, and it begrudgingly does that. But that's okay. You know, I'm just testing the limits of the engine. Well, here we go onto the freeway. Oh. Now, the screen's adjustable. I've wound the screen all the way up. We'll have to do a proper test on the screen when I don't have that GoPro on the front there, because that will disturb the wind. Yeah, the power really starts to build after about, I don't know, 5,300 revs. Just snick it back down into 6th. So 80 kilometers an hour in 6th is around 4,600 revs. Yeah, so around 5.8 at 100 kilometers an hour. That seems a lot of revs, but then when you're actually riding it, the bike seems very smooth. The other thing it does is it gives you access to the broader, more power. So if you need to respond, to move away from something, you can. Traffic's just stopping me getting up to 110 for the moment, but we'll get there. Yeah, so that's 100 kilometers an hour. It's around 6. Now let's blast up. Yeah, actually, yeah, it is revving high, but the trade-off is you've got access to that power to get yourself out of trouble. Yeah, so we're going up a fairly steep hill there, and yeah, the bike kicks up. So we've turned off the freeway and we're heading to Somersby, to Unifilter HQ.
I'm with Miles Gooch at Unifilter headquarters, and we're just about to fit a foam air filter, the Cfmoto. Now, Miles, there's only 2 screws, isn't there?
There is only 2 screws.
That's it, you just
Makes it nice and...
use the key to take the seat off, and then you're straight into it.
Yep. It's much easier than most.
Yeah, no tank take off, which is great. Big tick there, Cfmoto. There you go. Out she comes. Alright, it's got a little snorkel on her. So, there you go, it's like a cassette.
Same as KTM.
There you go. That's the paper air filter. Oh, by the way, Clubby said, can you get a brighter jumper? Alright, let's go. So in it goes. And that's like a wedge, is it? That
Yeah, it's
jams
like a
it in.
wedge, same as KTM use. And you just push that home. She's done.
And that's it. And she's in. She's uni filtered.
Yep.
But wait, there's more. What else you got there, Miles?
It's our pre-filter, so it replaces the snorkel
Right.
from there, so you just pop that out.
Oh, right.
And this one pops in its place.
Oh, right.
Like that there. And just put
Oh,
straight
wow,
back in.
what a great idea.
That way just, yeah, nice coarse foam, cuts all the main dust before it gets to the main one.
Yeah.
So you can take these out without actually taking the airbox apart. You should be able to just push your fingers in there, pop them out.
Oh, wow.
And you just put them back in as you need them.
Wow. Brilliant. So, Miles, what's the go with these filters at the moment?
So they're available through your Cfmoto dealer.
Yes.
So because we manufacture them for Cfmoto in Australia.
Yes.
So yeah, they've got rights to them in Australia for the time being.
Yes.
And then we'll also have them available on our website
Yeah.
going forward.
Well, mate, it certainly opens up riding out to the outback without dusting your engine.
Yeah, it sure does, and having that makes it easier too. So if you are in the middle of nowhere, you can just pop that off. You've got a clean filter underneath. Keep going.
Yeah, brilliant, mate. I love those two screws too.
Yeah.
Just two screws to fit it in.
Makes it easy, doesn't it?
Hey? Let's have a look down in there. See if we can. Some twisties. Now, I don't profess to be the best road rider in the world, so apologies in advance. It's a bit slippery today too. There's a bit of leaf litter on the ground there. I love the way the bike just transfers its weight from side to side. It's beautiful. It's got a lovely feel to it. It's nice. I could live with that. The engine power is, for the most part, linear, but it certainly picks up a bit from about 7,000 on. When you get it into the red line, it's certainly clicking along. We're off the freeway now and into the country. This is my backyard. Great place to test bikes. You can always find something that, you know, takes them to their limits. One of the great strengths of this bike is you've got this one push button here to turn ABS off and traction control off at the same time. So let's give it a run. You can do this on the fly, and there you go, it's in off-road mode. Now the beauty of this one is you can do it on the fly, but not only that, you can turn it back off again and it's off. Well, this first bit of dirt, it's got a lot of corrugations to it, and the suspension is soaking that up. Oh dear. This is the four-wheel drive lottery. I have no idea how deep that is. Jesus. Yeah, so I've ridden this stuff on big bikes. I mean, I've taken my T7 through here, 890s, Ducati Desert X, there's a whole range of things. And I can tell you, doing it on this little one is a whole lot easier. Low seat height, low centre of gravity,
makes life easy. So it opens up tracks that you normally wouldn't do. It liberates you for adventure because you can do things others can't on their big bikes. All in the name of testing suspension. Ooh, ooh. You know what? That's pretty damn good. Gotta say, I'm surprised with the suspension. Yeah. I'm not surprised with the tyres though. They're just not up to it. Ooh, ooh, oh no, it's narrow enough. Now, we're going to get up there. I think so. I think so. Oh, user error. Yeah, the only limitation here is my feet. Oh no, that front tyre, that's got to go, Clubby. That front tyre's got to go. Yeah, this frame design is very good. Just back there I was going through quite thick gravel, and you know, there's just a stability to the bike. You know, not only does it point where you want it, both on the dirt and the road, but it also has very good manners. Yeah. God, I haven't been up here for a long time. We'll give it a go. Yep. Yep. That's a good engine for that sort of stuff. Very impressed. Yeah, that's the beauty of twins, you know, they're less likely to stall. There we go, around here. There we go. Now, if there was a place you're going to bottom out suspension, it's on this road. And I've managed to bottom it out a couple of times. Pretty sure you'd agree this is a reasonably fast trail pace. Oh yeah, there I bottomed out the front forks. It's a reasonably busy trail pace. Ooh. Yeah, rear shock just bottomed out then. Oh, rear shock. But again, I could feel it bottoming, but it wasn't a thud. Kind of kept its composure.
And finally, this bike is a long-termer, given to us by Cfmoto Australia for 6 months. And Clubby and I will be building it to our adventure specifications for the type of riding we like doing, which is strongly dirt focused. A quick disclaimer, Cfmoto has no control nor influence on editorial content, nor decisions on which accessories we choose to fit to the bike. However, accessories will be provided free of charge from a range of companies. Now, Clubby and I don't put something on the bike simply because it's free. We're chasing quality and relevance to the type of adventure riding we do, and it has to enhance our dirt riding experience.
Clubby, well, I've given it my wrap. Now, you've got this long term. What are your plans? What are you thinking so far?
Well, from day one, I just like the bike, and it is a whole new category of bike, that smaller capacity segment you've spoken about. So I said to Cfmoto, can we have one 6 months? Dave and I will put some work into it, cover it in the magazine, cover it on Mad TV, and they said, yep, here you go, son, go your hardest. But the thing is, we don't have to go hard, Dave. That's the core with it, isn't it? Yep. And really, the setups that I've already got in play, good old Aussie barkbusters with some alloy backbone protection up here on the front. I've got the taller rally seat coming from Cfmoto, gives you a flat platform. Yeah, it makes it higher, but still totally reachable with the ground. Centre stand is also going to be coming from Cfmoto. And then I've got a Bashplate. The standard Bashplate, it's a mix of plastic and alloy down there, pretty lightweight. So B&B, another good Aussie brand, they're supplying a Bashplate for us, Dave. And then the other big thing that it's just a must-have is the tyres, Dave. Yeah. With these standard CST tyres, oh, okay, hard, dry ground, tar, yeah, okay. But the minute you get any kind of moisture on the ground surface, you really are looking for grip. So we've got some Pirelli Rally Race tyres coming, chunkier, knobbies. Now they'll be tube tyres. That's fine. The standard tyres, just so you know, are tubeless. And then really after that, it's just going to be personalising luggage. I can see what you've done, Dave, to get the giant loop throwover bags, the Mojave to fit. You've removed the standard rear rack and grab handles, which is all one piece at the back of the bike. The grab handles are pretty wide, so that made it hard to get the throwover bags around from giant loop. But yeah, that's a neat solution. Might be a scope for someone to come up with a rear rack that doesn't include grab handles, pillion grab handles, for exactly this reason. You've already got the Diablo from GL there, fits on sweet. And then away we go. I think the only other thought I've had is they do an optional taller screen as well from Cfmoto.
I don't know.
Don't know whether we need it.
Well,
you know, for big mile days, maybe. And you hit a point before, a little bit more rise or forward positioning of the bars could help. The other thing too, the standard pegs have removable rubbers. Yeah, I might like a little bit bigger peg. And really, yeah, then you're away with it. I'm not talking about spring rates. I'm not talking about mufflers.
No.
I'm not talking about decatting. I'm not talking about remapping.
No.
Isn't it unreal?
Yeah.
Hey, for a $9,490 bike, we're just talking about generic bolt-ons that everything needs.
Yep.
Not just this bike. Look, it's a fun bike, Dave. You know, I don't need to cover all the ground that you've done. I agree with everything you stated there in your summary. And I'm just of the opinion, just try it, people. Just try it. All the dealers now have got stock. They've got demos. Just ride one, mate. It's fun.
Now, one thing we haven't trialled out yet, and we need to, and that's the technology on this bike, because it's got technology of a 25 grand bike.
Well, it does, and you know, you can drive it all through Cfmoto's app with your mobile phone. And there's a stack of, like, it's almost a separate feature there in that technology that comes with the bike. Yep. It's not an add-on extra, it's not a subscription service. You just download the app, pair your phone to the bike. You can remap the bike through that app supplied. No extra cost, do it yourself at home, no dealer, tech like that. But then it's also got a security gateway as part of the app as well, that if your bike is touched or moved, if you've got the security function app activated, you get a notification to your phone that your bike's moving. And then if some lowlife does get away with it, you can track where it is. Like, it's just, the more you look into it, the more there is in that package, mate, of that $9.5 grand package. It's impressive.
Oh. The way I came in, This is the way we go out. This will be interesting. Now, which way will I do that? If I do straight up the guts and I miss with my feet, I'm in serious shit. Look at that log in there too. Oh well, let's give it a run, see what happens. Oh, look where that log is. No, I'll have to move that. It'll hit something, hit the crankcase or something. Just on the wrong angle. I reckon I'm going to get stuck in here, that's my view. I don't have good dirt tyres. And that looks greasy. There's an option over there, but... Or I could try to punch it straight up the middle. I just don't think those tyres are good enough to do that. Anyway, let's see. No. Do I punch it up? If I punch it up in there and I get stuck, it's even going to be worse. Decisions. Come back a bit. Alright, I just can't. The seat's so low I can't even get on it. Seat bounce it. Oh, goodness me. I think that's the way we'll end the video, eh? Oh, there's a kangaroo. Look at him. He hasn't seen me. Hello. Hello. You didn't see. Hello. How are you? Hello. You want to come and say hello? Hey? You're really tame. You're the tamest kangaroo I've seen in a long time. Alright, I'll catch you later. Bye-bye. No, I don't have any food. Yeah, that kangaroo's been fed. Look at him watching my hand. See how he's watching it? Sorry, mate, don't have anything for you. You're looking fit anyway.